Hi, friends.
Hey.
Welcome back to another episode of The Seed Pod, a podcast for kids and their grown-ups. The Seed Pod is a project from the Sycamore Seeds Learning Community teachers. I'm Miss Lauren.
And I'm Miss Sam.
And we'll be your hosts. Today is Thursday, October 23rd. Keep listening for our first segment of Three Things Thursday, which is a part of the show dedicated to exploring interesting groups of three. As goes the Latin phrase, omne trium perfectum, which means everything that is three is perfect.
On this day in 1958, which was 67 years ago, the Smurfs made their debut on television. Here's an interesting fact about the Smurfs. Did you know those iconic white caps they wear are actually based on Liberty caps or Phrygian caps? Originated in antiquity, which was about 5,000 years ago, they were first worn by former slaves to show their freedom. Over time, the hat transformed to become a symbol of freedom and the pursuit of liberty, which has been used in different revolutions all over the world.
If today is your birthday, happy birthday! Even if it's not, we can send well wishes to a few famous friends who were born on this day. On October 23rd, we wish a joyful trip around the sun to Bob Montana, the creator of the Archie comics, and Weird Al Yankovic, the parody musician.
It's time for Three Things Thursday. With fall being the harvest season, we're going to talk about corn, squash, and beans, otherwise known as the Three Sisters. Indigenous cultures of Central and North America would plant these three crops together, what we call companion planting today, for a really cool reason. The tall corn stalk would act as a trellis for the climbing beans, whose roots would then keep the corn nice and safe from the incoming north wind. What is the squash crop good for, you ask? Well, the wide leaves of the squash would shade the soil around the corn and bean stalks, which would help the soil stay moisturized. What a smart idea to put all these different plants to use in a way that made them all stronger.
Now it's time for Story Corner. We'll pick up where we left off yesterday in the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Chapter 14. How the Balloon Was Launched. After 4 days, to her great joy, Oz sent for Dorothy, and when she entered the throne room, he greeted her pleasantly. "Sit down, my dear. I think I have found the way to get you out of this country." "And back to Kansas?" she asked eagerly. "Well, I'm not sure about Kansas," said Oz, "for I haven't the faintest notion which way it lies. But the first thing to do is cross the desert, and then it should be easy to find your way home." "How can I cross the desert?" she inquired. "Well, I'll tell you what I think," said the little man. "You see, when I came to this country, it was in a balloon. You also came through the air, being carried by a cyclone. So I believe the best way to get across the desert will be through the air. Now, it is quite beyond my powers to make a cyclone, but I've been thinking the matter over, and I believe I can make a balloon for us." "Us?" exclaimed the girl. "Are you going too?" "Yes, of course," replied Oz. "I am tired of being such a humbug. If I should go out of this palace, my people would soon discover I am not a wizard, and then they would be angry with me for having lied to them. So I have to stay shut up in these rooms all day, and it gets tiresome. I'd much rather go back to Kansas with you and be in a circus again." "I shall be glad to have your company," said Dorothy. After many days and much work, the great balloon was ready, and Oz ordered that it be carried out in front of the palace. The people gazed upon it with much curiosity. Then Oz got into the basket and said to all the people in a loud voice, "I am now going away to make a visit. When I am gone, the Scarecrow will rule over you. I command you to obey him as you would me. Come, Dorothy," he cried, "hurry up, or the balloon will fly away." "I can't find Toto anywhere," replied Dorothy, who did not wish to leave her little dog behind. Toto had run into the crowd to bark at a kitten, and Dorothy at last found him. She picked him up and ran toward the balloon. She was within a few steps of it, and Oz was holding out his hands to help her into the basket when, crack! Went the ropes, and the balloon rose into the air without her. "Come back!" she screamed. "I want to go too!" "I can't come back, my dear," called Oz from the basket. "Goodbye!" "Goodbye!" shouted everyone, and all eyes were turned upward to where the Wizard was riding in the basket, rising every moment farther and farther into the sky. And that was the last any of them ever saw of Oz, the wonderful Wizard. But the people remembered him lovingly and said to one another, "Oz was always our friend. When he was here, he built for us this beautiful Emerald City. Now he is gone, but he has left the wise Scarecrow to rule over us."
Chapter 15. Away to the South. Dorothy wept bitterly. She had lost her last chance to get home to Kansas again. The morning after the balloon had gone up with Oz, Dorothy and her 3 companions met in the throne room and talked matters over. The Scarecrow sat in the big throne, and the others stood respectfully before him. "We are not so unlucky," said the new ruler, "for this palace and the Emerald City belong to us, and we can do just as we please." "But I don't want to live here," cried Dorothy. "I want to live with Aunt Em and Uncle Henry." "Well, what can be done?" asked the woodman. The Scarecrow decided to think. He thought so hard that the pins and needles began to stick out of his brains. Finally, he said, "Why not call the winged monkeys and ask them to carry you over the desert?" "I never thought of that," said Dorothy joyfully. "I'll go at once for the golden cap." When she brought it into the throne room, she spoke the magic words, and soon the band of winged monkeys flew in through the open window and stood beside her. "This is the second time you have called us," said the Monkey King, bowing before the little girl. "What do you wish?" "I want you to fly with me to Kansas," Dorothy said. "That cannot be done," he said. "We belong to this country alone and cannot leave it. There has never been a winged monkey in Kansas yet, and I suppose there never will be, for they don't belong there. We shall be glad to serve you, but we cannot cross the desert. Goodbye." The Scarecrow was thinking again. "Let us call in the soldier with the green whiskers," he said, "and ask his advice." So the soldier was summoned and entered the throne room timidly, for while Oz was alive he was never allowed to come farther than the door. "This little girl," said the Scarecrow to the soldier, "wishes to cross the desert. How can she do so?" "I cannot tell," answered the soldier, "for no one has ever crossed the desert, unless it is Oz himself." "Is there no one who can help me?" asked Dorothy earnestly. "Glinda might," he suggested. "Who is Glinda?" inquired the Scarecrow. "The Good Witch of the South. She is the most powerful of all the witches and rules over the Quadlings. Besides, her castle stands on the edge of the desert, so she may know a way to cross it." "How can I get to her castle?" asked Dorothy. "The road is straight to the south," he answered, "but it is said to be full of dangers to travelers. There are wild beasts in the woods, and a tribe of odd men who do not like strangers to cross their country. For this reason, none of the Quadlings ever come to the Emerald City." The soldier then left them, and the Scarecrow said, "It seems, in spite of dangers, that the best thing Dorothy can do is travel to the land of the South and ask Glinda to help her. I shall go with Dorothy." "I, too, shall go with Dorothy," declared the lion. "And I," proclaimed the woodman. "Thank you," said Dorothy gratefully. "You are all very kind to me." "We shall go tomorrow morning," returned the Scarecrow. "So now let us all get ready, for it will be a long journey."
Tune in tomorrow for more Wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Here's a joke to send you off. What is a room with no walls?
I'm not sure. What is it?
A mushroom. Oh. Thanks again for listening, friends. Tomorrow we'll have our first guest speaker on the show to talk about their cool job for Friend of the Pod Friday. Later.
Bye.